Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Common Sense Crypto channel. As with you always, this is Rich doing another video today on XRP. So I hope you're all having a wonderful day today, wherever you are in this great world. We're gonna talk about XRP. And I gotta start with this from Dominus. Breaking, the SEC just published a document mentioning the replacement of the SWIFT system with XRP. Now, this document is not new. It actually came out earlier this year. But I want to show you what's going on with some of these numbers. So, source of capital, U.S. Nostro accounts, amount freed up $1.5 trillion. Action to unlock funds, replace SWIFT with XRP-based liquidity. Transaction fee savings, $7.5 billion per year. Shift global payments to XRP. Federal payment cost reductions, $500 billion over 10 years. Implement XRP for IRS and Social Security payments. That would benefit every single American. That would also strengthen the U.S. dollar and provide liquidity for the failing banks. Because all of a sudden, those Nostro accounts and the Vostro accounts that are all around the world, that liquidity would go back to the banking system, and that would strengthen the banks at the same time. Then they talk about capital for Bitcoin reserves. The U.S. government is never going to buy Bitcoin. It doesn't benefit the American people. It only benefits Bitcoin bag holders. I don't ever see that actually happening. Stuart Alderati says, excited to be back at FMQ later this week, hosted by GU Fin Policy. Looking forward to joining the Innovating Through Cryptocurrency panel and discussing the evolving digital assets landscape. Now look at who Stu is there with. The IMF, BlackRock. Do you honestly think BlackRock does not know the future? Do you honestly think BlackRock doesn't know about XRP? They absolutely do. Robbie Mitchnick left Ripple and went to work at BlackRock. Do you honestly think that he doesn't talk about XRP? They know a new financial system is coming. They are positioning themselves before that happens. And look who just popped up on the Ripple Swell 2025 speaker list. Scott Lucas, head of markets digital assets at JP Morgan. And Black Swan Capitalist says, the devil is in the details. Are BlackRock and JP Morgan secretly positioning in XRP? Absolutely. They've been suppressing the tech while misdirecting the public. Classic move. What do they always do? They tell you that this cryptocurrency sucks. We don't see any value in that cryptocurrency. Meanwhile, they're accumulating that cryptocurrency. Later, they're going to say, we always knew XRP was the future. We always knew that they would implement XRP to move money all around the world, move tokenized assets all around the world. They don't talk about it now because they want to keep the price held down while they continue to accumulate XRP. Gemini predicts XRP price surge to $6 to $15 on ETF demand. So first XRP ETF launched with $37.7 million in opening day volume. Analysts see ETFs absorbing 1 to 4% of the circulating XRP supply in year one. Gemini projects a possible rally towards $6 to $15 if demand spikes. I think that's very conservative. I still think it's going to be higher. Everybody is so conservative with these ETF predictions for XRP. They always like to say, well, it's not a Bitcoin ETF. I don't see the demand for an XRP ETF. I think there's going to be massive demand for it. And I think XRP, once again, is going to shock all the naysayers. DTCC lists Fidelity Solana ETF and Canary's XRP ETF. They also listed the Canary HBAR ETF as well. I think these ETFs are going to go live sooner than expected. You know, whenever they put a timeline on something, usually the timeline changes. I think they're going to get fast-tracked and most likely go live sometime at the beginning of October. Institutional DeFi is here, and the XRP ledger has solidified its position as the trusted open source settlement layer for global institutions. I want to show you what's newly live on the XRP ledger, and this really benefits institutional adoption. So credentials linked to decentralized identifiers, DIDs. Credentials enable trusted issuers to attest to attributes such as KYC status, know your customer, accreditation, or regulatory permissions. It's like decentralized identity. Deep freeze, now live. Deep freeze lets token issuers prevent misuse by frozen account holders. It ensures that flagged addresses cannot send or receive tokens until their trust line is unfrozen, allowing issuers to comply with sanctions and other regulatory requirements. For stablecoin issuers and real-world asset providers, Deep Freeze is a critical safeguard that blocks illicit transfers while maintaining transparency across payments, DEX, and AMM activity. They cannot freeze your XRP. I'm going to say that right now because everybody always thinks that XRP can be frozen. Deep freeze is going to play a big factor with CBDCs and stablecoins. Like if the US was going to choose RLUSD to be the US digital dollar, they would definitely want deep freeze in place, but they're not going to freeze your XRP. Simulate, a new transaction method that allows developers to dry run transactions before committing them to the network. Simulate provides realistic previews of how a transaction will behave under mainnet conditions without broadcasting or affecting ledger state. This way people could see how the transaction will happen before they actually send it. This is really going to benefit institutions. This is why you're going to see institutional adoption for the XRP ledger. And I talked about that new token, that MXRP. So a few MXRP on-chain stats so far. $6.5 million on the XRP EVM sidechain total supply. Where it originates. On the XRP ledger, on the right, you see already $2.85 million bridge via Axelar and issued here as an IOU. 99 holders and 188 trust lines set. Now, I think this is going to pick up momentum along the way. This is for people to gain that 8% yield off of their XRP. I still think 8% is very high. I think this is going to come with some risk, and I want to see what people have to say about this over the coming days. XRP price prediction. XRP traders eyed $2.54 support amid mixed technical indicators. So they're talking about XRP going even lower. I see people saying it's going down under $2. I don't think that's going to happen. I think the market's going to reverse, and I think we're going to start to see the breakout begin. The real breakout begin. XRP needs only 5% of Bitcoin's capital to explode. Dr. Willie hydraulic pipe analogy. So what he's talking about is when the money flows out of Bitcoin, and it's going to, some of that money is going to end up in the price of XRP. He's saying that XRP could jump 5 to 20x before correcting. I agree with that. I think a lot of these people that think XRP is going to go all the way up to like $50 and then have this major 90% correction, I think those people are going to be proven wrong. We are on the verge of institutional adoption. They're going to choose the XRP ledger. It's a one-stop shop for institutions. Think about it. Everything that Ripple put in place benefits these institutions. They're making it as easy as possible. And the money is going to shift away from Bitcoin because people are already looking past Bitcoin. Once the retail FOMO shows up, I see people saying with retail FOMO, Bitcoin's going to 300K. I doubt it. Retail is not buying Bitcoin. It's way too expensive. When retail comes back, and that FOMO really begins, I think some may go into Ethereum, but again, Ethereum's price is pretty high as well. You could buy a really decent bag of XRP for the price of one Ethereum, and especially one Bitcoin. I think people are going to start to shift away from it, and I think the only people left in Bitcoin are going to be the big bag holders and maybe some institutions. But most of the institutions, they know that a new financial system's coming. It's not a secret. They've been telling you for years what's going to happen next. XRP final move of 2025 is coming. Web3 expert explains XRP road to $25. So what they're predicting is a $25 price point for XRP by the end of this year. That would be great because I think a really big blow off top is going to happen in January, maybe even February. But I think we're going to have a lot of that ETF money still flowing in. It's not going to all come in month one. It's not going to be like one massive surge of liquidity. We're going to see a decent amount flow in month one. Then more is going to flow in month 2 and month 3 and month 4 and so on. We've seen that with the Bitcoin ETFs early last year. I think the same is going to happen for XRP. And again, if the ETF money is still flowing in, how is XRP going to have this massive crash when new liquidity is entering consistently? It doesn't make sense. But I would love to see XRP at $25 by December. And I think that can very well happen. And this comes from Brad Garlinghouse. I feel so lucky for so many reasons. And marrying Tara this past weekend takes the cake. This next chapter of life is so much sweeter with you. So congrats to Brad Garlinghouse. He tied the knot this past weekend. You know, I always said Brad is probably the best leader in crypto. I mean, think about it. Think about where Brad has taken Ripple while they were tied up with the SEC. They went global with Ripple. But then Brad, again, he pivots multiple times. Acquisitions, leaving cross-border payments more focused on tokenization and custody so that the company, Ripple, becomes well-rounded. The XRP ledger becomes very well-rounded, and at the same time, it adds even more utility to what we're holding, XRP. But it's great to see Brad so happy in this picture. You know, this market right now, it's so hard to call because every time it looks strong and it looks like this is what we've been waiting for, it seems like something brings the market back down. And then it's like another delay before we start moving back up. I'm just waiting to where XRP is moving by 50 cents and $1. That time is absolutely coming. All you got to do is stay patient long enough until it happens. With that said, I'm going to wrap up this video. I want to thank you all for watching. I appreciate all of you. Now let's get rich together. I'll see you in the next one. Have a great night.